Okay. So last week we have discussed about class and what is the definition of the class we have discussed. And this week we have discussed more about the classes and objects, how do they work, and what is the parameter. These things we have to discuss in this week. Okay. So okay. So in order to proceed, uh, whatever concepts we discuss from here onwards, we should be very clear about the classes and objects. So everything we discuss in the form of the classes and objects only. So last week we have defined public class and name of the class we have to define. So, so name of the class is user defined. I have named it as names. Okay. So then I would like to define name of the class void. Full name is the name of the method. Then we can define the variables. So I would like to construct a full name by using your first name and last name. That's what I'm planning to do it here. Okay, so we need to take first name and last name as in parameters. And let me take the last name as well. And I will try to display the full name. Okay. So, right. So this is the way to declare the class. This part already we have discussed it. So I'm not going in there. And this is the physical representation of the class. Means by itself, it cannot occupy any memory. Means no memory allocation is given to this class. And few things we could understand later. What is public? What is void? These things we can understand in future. Maybe today or tomorrow we will discuss about those things as well. And next one is the full name. This is the name of the method. Whatever name you want, you can use. So in order to use the class, you have to create object to the class. Okay. So that I'm trying to do it here. Okay. Names obj equal to new names. Okay. So in this part, uh, so this is the name of the class we should use, means whatever name we will use, that name we have to use it here. Okay, name of the class. And the second one is the name of the object. Okay, so this is name of the object. Okay, so name of the object we have to define. So whenever you create the object, okay, whenever you create the object here, means whatever name you want, you can use. After using this name, memory allocation will be given. Means whatever method is there, if you would like to use, yeah, if you would like to get benefit of this method by giving first name and last name to construct your full name, we have to create the object. Unless you create the object, you cannot access this method. Means the content of this page we cannot use. This is how this class works. Okay, so this is the class name, physical representation of the class, creating the object. Okay, so these concepts we have discussed last week also. Okay, now let us see a few other areas to understand about the class. Okay, so in order to call, we have to create, we have to call the name of the method. So whenever we call name of the method, then it will go to this part of the program. It will execute and it will process the output. Okay, so let me run it. Okay, first name and last name. So I can input my first name. Okay, so like this, able to display the last name. Okay, so this class we have discussed last week. However, this week we have to introduce another concept, which is called as the parameters of the class. The parameters of the method. Okay, so parameters of the methods. So what is the meaning of this one? Parameters of the class or something. See, the concept of the parameters will comes to the picture when we think about the sharing of the data. So what is the meaning of sharing of the data? See, these object-oriented concepts are fully designed in terms of the security, in terms of the performance. By taking security, integrity, scalability all into the consideration, these object-oriented programming languages are designed. So when we have this concept of integrity, scalability, security, we should have a strict policy to share the data. First of all, what is the meaning of the shared data? So when you design a object-oriented programming language, okay, when you design an object-oriented programming language, everything is designed in the form of the classes and objects. So that is very clear. Okay, so okay, so everything is designed in the form of classes and objects. Means if you are designing a project or a class in C# .NET program, it could have any number of classes in its range. Means if you are designing a project, there can be any number of classes. So for example, I'm taking two classes. Okay, I'm going to design a sample project, a small piece of code. Okay, so which has two classes. Let me say class A, and also I have another class. Okay, so let me say class B. Okay, like this. I have two classes. I would like to call them as class A and class B. Okay, two classes we have. Now, a class will contain the methods. Okay, a class will contain the methods. So that's what we have one method here in this example. Okay, you can see my source code, I guess. Okay, here I have one class. In the class, I can have the methods. Okay, so a class will have few methods. So let me define some sample methods here. Okay, so I'm giving a name of the method, method one, and method one will have some implementation. And this method is going to calculate addition of two methods. Let me say here, method one equal to x equal to a plus b. That is one method. So in similar fashion, I may have another method, okay, another method two, okay, another method two. Okay, method means I hope you remember the functional implementation of the class. Okay, maybe here I have x equal to a minus b. Okay, like this, I have two methods. Now, uh, let us come to class B as well. Here also we have some methods. Method B1. And this one is also having some implementation. Maybe here you are trying to find out. Okay, so here I'm trying to find out. Okay. So here I'm trying to find out multiplication like this. And let me put another method here by p. Okay. So like this, we have methods. So now what is the concept of the parameters when it will comes to the picture? Okay. So basically the concept of the parameters are variables. It will comes to the picture when there is a data sharing concept. So what is the meaning of the data sharing? See, here, what method one is doing is method one is trying to find out addition of given two numbers. Okay, addition of given two numbers. So after finding addition of two numbers, probably what I will do is, let me take a separate class. See, if you look at our program, there is a class. To create an object to this class, to call this method, I'm using another class. The name of the class is program. In this program, I have created object to the class and I'm trying to call the method. Then I'm trying to display the output as well. So this is the general scenario it will follow. Okay, so any method, any classes are the methods. So now I'm taking another class. Okay, another class. The name of the class is main. Okay, the name of the class is main. So in this method, maybe I'm creating object to class A and I'm trying to use the methods in class A and name of the method is obj dot method one is the name of the method. Okay, you see here, and this is the name of the class. To this class, I have created the object. After creating the object, there is one method, method one. I am trying to call that method to here. Okay, so now here, first we need to understand what is the meaning of the data sharing. Okay, what is the meaning of the data sharing? Okay, so the meaning of data share is the method one, okay, method one, it can find out addition of A and B. That is fine. When I call this method, okay, when I call this method, this request will go to this method. Guys, give me 1 second. Yeah, sorry, guys. Okay, so here I have created the object. So what this method will do is this will go to here. It can find out the addition of A and B. It will display also some console.writeLine try to display the X value. That is fine. But what I need is I would like to push the value outside of it. Okay, I would like to push the value outside of it. By default, that is not possible in the current context we are doing. So what is the meaning of pushing the value outside? Okay, pushing the value outside. See, suppose you can imagine like this. Uh, Suppose you are expert in cooking. Okay, you are expert in cooking. What you went to the some chicken shop, you purchased, you just bought chicken to home, you prepared it at home. Probably you don't want to share with anyone apart from your family. That is your privacy. Okay, that is your privacy. You don't want to share with anyone. So cooking and consuming is the internal matter. Okay, cooking and consuming is the internal matter. Maybe the chicken you bought it from outside, the ingredients you bought it from outside, but how do you cook, how do you consume, that is completely internal matter. No one is supposed to be aware of it. Means whatever procedure you are doing that has access within your home only. In similar fashion, whatever value X and Y I'm trying to figure out or finding addition, it has access within this scope only, within the open breast to closure breast. We call it as the scope of the variable. A scope of the variable is limited to within its area, within its range. Probably, I cannot access the value of X outside of it unless you are purposely sharing. Means, once if you cook at your home, if you would like to share with your friends, maybe you take it out, you can share with your friends also. That is your privacy. Whether you do it or not, it is up to you. Maybe if you share with your friends, they will share with other friends as well. So that is the sharing process. So now, when we design so many classes like this, so many methods like this, many times what happens is there you would need a concept of the data sharing. Okay, there you would need a concept of the data sharing. How the concept of the data sharing works is whatever value is there within this method, I would like to push it outside of this method. Maybe you can take this example. Once, if I know what is the value of X, I would like to write some extended code to that value of X, where in different class, main class. But my problem is the value of X is restricted in class A method one only. You can display that value within that method, but if I would like to access that method outside of this one, is not possible. Suppose, suppose let me find out addition of A and B. Okay, let me find out addition of A and B. And I don't want to display addition of A and B in this method. Probably in this method, I would like to display. Now, let us imagine the real case. Okay, real case. Now, in this particular method, already we have code, already we have designed. You guys can see my Visual Studio code, right? Yes, you can type in actually. Someone can please type. Are you
Yes,
saying my?
sir.
Okay. Okay. So here, probably what I'm doing is, I can display my full name in this method. Okay. Now let me comment out this line. Okay. Let me comment out this line. But I would like to display full name. Okay. I would like to display full name in this method. Okay. Program. See two things. Okay. Two things. Where the logic is performed, where the functional implementation is done. Functional implementation is done in this method full name. Here I am trying to find out functional implementation of my full name. That is the first. So once if you do this, when you try to find out the full name, okay, here you have no clue. Okay, what is my full name? I'm not aware of it now. If I comment out this line, here I would like to display my full name, console.write line. Okay, console.write line. My full name is, okay, here I would like to display full name of the candidate. But the problem is the first name and last name are limited scope within this method only. I cannot access full name outside of this method due to the policy restrictions. Okay. So due to the architectural design, the first name, last name, or maybe you can write like this also. Okay, full name. Here I will try to construct the full name like this. Full name equal to F name. Okay, last like this I have constructed. Okay, method name and see these two names should not match. Okay, like this. Okay, so now my full name exists here.
See, so you might have to change the function call as well. Line 26, 25.
Okay. So the first name and last name here I have the definition for my full name. Now I would like to access this value outside of this method. Suppose if you would like to access within this value, this is very simple. That already we know the constructor logic. This is how you're sharing. Now what happens is whatever full name I'm trying to construct, I can access within this method only. I'm not pushing this value outside. But for some reason, I would like to access this value outside of this method. Maybe here I would like to display that value. But you see, we have the braces. The full name has access to within the braces only. I cannot access this value outside of it by default. At that moment, the concept of the return type and return type and parameters will come to the picture. Okay, parameters and also return types. Okay, return types. Okay, so these two we have to understand, and we should be very familiar how to manage the parameters and return types also. If we don't organize them in proper format, what happens is that leads to the data leakage in the program. Okay, so all right. So now how to share the value? See, this already you know. Okay, this already you know how to display the value within this method so that I'm commenting out this line. Now your intention is you would like to access this value outside of this method. Whatever full name is there, apart from this, I would like to access that value outside of that method. By default is not possible. So whenever you would like to design a method which is not at all sharing the values with outside of its scope, remember the technical word scope means between open brace and the closed brace. That is what we call it as the scope. Scope of the variable, scope of the method. This kind of terminology we will use frequently. So you have to adapt this terminology. So if you don't want to share any values, any data outside of a method scope, you have to name it as the void. You have to name it as the void. So what is the meaning of the void is just like going out and just brought all the ingredients required for your cooking. Okay, come to home, then you don't share with anyone. That is the exact meaning of the void. So if you keep something as the void, means anything, any variable within its range cannot be accessed outside of it. Okay, so that is the meaning of this. Then, how do I share the value? Okay, how do I share the value? That is where the concept of the return types comes to the picture. Okay, so okay, return type. So what is return type is basically return types allows to share the value with outside of it using indirect approach. Okay, using indirect approach. Okay, so how to share it? Say, remember, accessing variable is different, sharing the value is different. Access of the variable means, okay, access of the variable means if I am able to write the name of the variable in this position, that meaning is this variable have access to here. But see, if you focus your mouse, my full name does not exist in the current context. Current context means within this range, open brace and the closed brace, it does not exist. But we were not accessing this value directly. We follow an approach which is called as the return type to capture this value. So that's what I would like to tell. Return types means the way of sharing variables with outside of its scope using an approach. That approach is called as the return type. So when you talk about the return type, we have to decide what kind of value I have to share. Okay, what type of data type I have to share means when you said you would like to share a value, okay, share a value, you have to tell what is the data type I would like to return. Maybe sometimes integer value I would like to push it out, or maybe sometimes a string value I would like to push it out, or decimal, or string. Like this, any of these data types you can share, but not more than one at a time. Okay, remember? After performing this operation, if I want, I can share first name or I can share last name, or I can share my full name, but I cannot share first name, last name, and full name together. All I cannot share at a time. So when you talk about a return type, when you are talking about a return type, first we have to decide what type of data type I have to use. Then you have to mention it in the declaration of the method. Then how to mention it? So in this particular example, the value I would like to share is my full name. And what is the data type of the full name? String. So you have to remove void. You have to keep string in that name. Now what happens is this method have to share a value with outside of it. So which value you decided? Suppose you would like to share the full name, that is fine. If you would like to share the last name, that is fine. Or else my full name, my first name, whatever you want, you can share it. But like I said, I cannot share more than one value. Then why do we call this method as return type says? A return type indicates that a value can be shared with outside of a scope of the method, and it should match the data type. It should match the data type. Now, at the end of this method, what you should do is you have to write a keyword return full name. Okay, you have to write a full name return. That is the meaning of the return type. So, as you said, public string here, instead of void, if you keep string, that means I would like to share a string value outside of this method. What is that string value? You decided, because how many string values I have in this method? I have 3 string values: first name, last name, and full name. So one of these values you can share. As for this program requirement, I need to share the full name. Then I have to write return full name. So the type here I have given is the string. Here the return type should be also a string. Suppose if I have another variable int 10, let me take it. Okay, let me take x equal to 10. Okay, 10. Okay, if I try to remove the statement, I'm trying to comment it out. If I try to say return x, that will throw the error. Okay, that will throw the error. The reason is when I am defining the function, the return type I set as the string, but here I'm trying to return the integer value, which is the error in the program. Okay, so the return type should match to the data type. The return types and data types are both are interconnected. So string is there, I should return the string value. Suppose if I keep int here, I should be able to return the integer. So when you define a method as the return type as the string, probably you cannot use any other data type. Now, what you should do is you have to roll it back. Let me remove this line. Okay, like this. Now this method can return the value. That is clear. Okay, this method can return the value. Means this method can push the value outside of this method. It can share the full name with outside of this method. Then how to capture that value? Okay, how to capture that value? See, when I call this method, it will calculate the full name. It will push out the value, but we need a bowl to capture that value. Okay, we need a bowl to capture that value. See, imagine you go to some mall like DMart, you purchase many household items. You need a container to pack them, right? To put all of them in your vehicle or somewhere, you need to put them in a bag or something. You need to get it out so that you can organize it. So here the purpose of the mall is to purchase, but how to put it in a container, that is your risk. In similar fashion, the method full name, it can find out, it can push the value, but how do I capture the value? Okay, how do I capture the value? Then what you need is wherever you need this value full name, okay, wherever you need this value full name, there you have to define another string parameter, okay, another full parameter, final name equal to, okay, call the method. Okay, call the method. Now what happens, how it works is, you know, LH is equal to RHS, right? Suppose if I define a method x equal to 10, what happens? The value 10 will be assigned to x. That is the mathematical procedure. So when I call this method, what happens is, okay, when I call this method, Okay, so when I call this method, okay, when I call this method, the call will go to here, this will go to here. It will create the variables first name, last name, and full name, and x equal to 10 it will take. And first name, last name, it will take the full name, which will construct. Whenever it said written full name, what happens is this value will replace the name of the method here in its execution process. So in execution process, how it works is, okay, so after you run the application, okay, after you run the application, consider like you have given the first name easy and last name as tech, okay, is easy and tech. Now what happens? The first name will be taken, last name will be taken, and the names are constructed. Then full name is constructed, then returns the full name. So after at the end of this method, the full name will be easy tech, okay, easy tech. How this line will convert is, whatever line you are writing here, how this one will convert is string final name equal to, okay, equal to, whenever you call this method, it will go to the respective method, it will execute the logic, and it will replace with the return value. Okay, suppose if I pass easy and tech as the in parameters, easy and tech as the in parameters, it will take, after calculating the full name, what could be the expected value? Easy tech is the expected value. So that expected value will replace this method. This will convert into this pattern, string final name equal to easy tech. You know, right? So LHS will be assigned to RHS. This is how we capture the value when you try to return the values from a different method. Okay, different method. Now what happens is whatever value that is pulled out as the return statement, that will be assigned to final name. Here simply you can write final name. Okay, final name. Now what happens? The logic I'm constructing in this method, but I'm trying to access that method here. Okay, I'm trying to access that method here. That is how the things will be working. Once run the application, see the output. Okay, so enter first name, easy, take what? First, let us see the output, then try to debug the application. Okay, so this is how it works. My full name is sounds. Now let us see the debugging. See, created the object, then it will go to the method from here. Okay, it will ask for the first name, easy. Then it will ask for the last name, take. Let me run it again. Yeah, I don't think it will take the first name. Okay, see the return value. Okay, my name. See, as of now, uh, what is the value of final name? Null, because 28 is not yet completed. But you see, already it has constructed the return name. Now, if you press F10, okay, then the full name is EasyTech. Whatever we have inputted, that will replace. So basically, whatever written full name is there, that will replace with this method. We can display the output in other area. Okay. So we can display the full name. So let us try to compare with our initial discussion. Are we able to achieve that value or not? See, the full name is calculated here and that is accessed to here. Okay, that is what the concept of the return type. And remember, whenever you have used the return type, it should match with the return value. Okay, whatever is there, it will match with the return value. Okay, suppose the same thing you can do with internal, but I would like to keep this as the void. Then what happens is that value is limited. Okay, that value is limited. Okay, so see, this method is not sharing any value with outside. This method is sharing values with the outside. So how do you recognize a method is sharing or not? If the data type is void, it's not sharing. If the data type is string, int, char, float, whatever, then it can share. And remember, it can share only one value. We cannot share multiple values. So this is one way of data sharing. Like this, you can define any number of methods. Okay. Suppose if you want call this method, just give obj dot name of the method that will be finding the required. So now we have two methods, final name internal, full name. Final name internal cannot share the value. Full name internal, it can share the value. Okay, maybe, okay, let us just, let me run the application, then I will tell you the things. Okay, so like this, it can access. See, this is the first method. We have two methods, right? So it is trying to give me the both. Okay, so like this, it can display. Okay, so now, like I said, this could be the anything. Suppose if I would like to do an integer internal operation, integer add, okay, integer add, okay, int x equal to 10, int y equal to 20, then you can say return x plus y, return x plus y. So if this is integer, the return value should be integer. It should be integer only. Okay. So if I try to share some value like this, a string value, that will throw the error. Okay. So this is called as the return type. Very important in introduce also, they will ask you what is the return type. Return type means the value that can be shared with outside. We have to share it in the form of the return. Return types allows to push the values from outside of its scope using indirect approach. Okay. This is what return type. How many return types are there? You can put any return type in your data types as per your current knowledge. Maybe in future, we have to return the classes, many things we can do it there, but in future you will be learning. But at this moment, be aware of that. Like if you can return a string value, an integer, a float, a decimal, anything, you can try to do it out. So this is the concept of the data sharing and return types. Guys, are you clear what is return type? If anyone is not clear, let me know. If you are okay, I will go with the next concept. You can text if anyone, if you don't understand.
So how to return
So,
class?
sorry.
Yes, Rani, you can ask now. Then I will go to Akshay. Yes. Yeah, who is asking the question, Rani or Meghna?
Me, yeah.
Yeah,
So actually, I want to how to return a class also.
yeah, that we will discuss, Rani, in future, because we are in the beginning of the classes only, right? We need to discuss
Yeah.
more like properties and all. Then I will discuss that concept as well. This is too early to return the classes now.
Yeah, okay.
Okay? If you would like, I can give you the example. So this is the name of the class. And Okay, so like this. Now in the names, what you can do is public, name of the class, return class test. Okay, so that is the way to return the classes. Instead of writing the data types void, string, or float, we have to write the name of the class, and that object we can return it. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we can discuss more actually along with the ADO.NET concepts and all. But this is the way to return. Instead of writing the data type string for class, we have to write name of the class. According to we can proceed on it. Yeah, Ashish, you have doubt it seems.
So I was saying that to a function to return a value, we should be using first of all the return type as whatever return type we want the function to return,
Yes.
and then in the end we have to use return keyword, right?
Yes.
So that is how a function will return the value.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. We should use the return keyword to return the value.
Okay, sir. So that was it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Guys, anyone have any doubt? Okay, freshers, all of you understood. Meghana, Sai, Sneha, Srikant. Oh, fine. So here the method, this is called as the a called method, and where we are trying to call it is called as the calling method. So in the main, I'm trying to call the method full name internal. This is called as the called method, and where you are trying to call, that is called as the calling method. Okay, calling. When we have the concept of the data types, when we have the concept of the data sharing, there are different ways of data sharing actually. Okay, there are different ways of the data sharing. So what are the ways? Okay, what are the ways? Let us try to discuss in detail about it, and very important in interviews. And in terms of the skill set also, you should be very comfortable to organize the return types and data share. Okay. If you would like to ask me like where I am getting the real-time concept, this is the first point of the real-time concept. Means really you have to start a project with this kind of declarations. So we were discussing the uh, return types. Let us discuss in more detail. Okay, more detail. So when you have the concept of the data types, what are the different ways of the data sharing? Now, let me take method one. Method one is only sharing the data with method two. That's it. Okay, that's it. That is one way of approach. The second way of approach is method A is only sharing the data with method one, but method one is not sharing data with method two. Okay, method two. So one way approach. Method one will share with method A, or method A will share with method one. That is one approach. The other approach, both the methods, they were sharing with each other. Okay, both the methods, they were sharing with the each other method. Means the data which exists in method one also sharing with method A, and method A is also sharing with method one as well. The other way around is there is no data sharing. See, this is not at all sharing. They both are not sharing with each other. Okay, they both are not sharing with each other. In these concepts, we have to use the parameters and return types together. Okay, parameters and return types together. Okay, so this is what we have to discuss in our next discussion. So remember, we are discussing parameters and the return type. And basically, the return types means data sharing only. The data sharing will have these many approaches. No data sharing at all. One-way data sharing means A to B or B to A, and two-way data sharing, A to B and B to A as well. So how to do all these things? Okay, that we have to organize it in very clear format. Okay, so now let us see how to organize them. Okay, now whatever example that we discussed here is two examples we have discussed. However, I will frame them again. Okay, I will frame them. See, we see how to share the data in one way. In this one, we see it already. This one also we saw it. However, these two we have to discuss. Okay, whatever. So let me frame it in clear format again so that it would be easier to understand. So the methods based on its declaration, okay, based on its declaration, it can divide it into four groups. Okay, it can divide it into four groups. So what are the four groups is we call them as the method types also. Okay, method types. Okay, so first one is no return, no parameter. Guys, one second. Okay, so no return, no parameter. Okay, so this is one example. So the method types we are discussing, and the method types are nothing but divided based on the data sharing behavior only. So no return, no parameters. Then second one is the no with return and no parameter. And the third one is no return with parameter. And fourth one is with return and with parameter. Okay, these are the four types. Now let us discuss in detail. Okay, now let me clear all the things we have. Okay, so to understand one class is enough. Okay, public names is the name of the class. Okay, first one is the no return, no parameter. This is what the example. Say no return means, okay, no return means void, okay, void full name, okay, void full name. See, no return, no parameter means, okay, no return, no parameter means, okay, this one means A is not sharing anything with B and B is also not sharing with A. This is the concept of the no return, no parameter. Basically, there is no data sharing between methods. Okay, so oh, this went off. Let me rewrite them. Okay, so these types we have. The first one is no return and no parameter, means no data sharing. Okay, no data sharing. Okay, so in this context, what happens is whatever is there, we define within its scope only. So far we saw this example. Okay, in first name, string, last name, console.writeLine, enter f name and l name, console.writeLine. Okay, my full name is okay. So this is what, see, if you see here, no return type. Okay, no return type. As of now, you don't know how to declare the parameters. So basically, no return, no parameter means there is no data sharing between both the methods. Okay, so create object to the method. Names obj equal to no names and call the method. Okay, object of full name. So this is already we discussed it, so I'm not stressing too much. So just run it out. Easy, right? Okay, so your full name is EasyTech. It is able. So no return, no parameters means there is no data sharing at all. Now, the next example we have to say no return with parameters means this is not sharing any value, but this method is sharing some value. Okay, means, okay, I don't want to share the dashboard again. It will lose. Okay, I will try to explain it in better way using the same board. Take break for 7 to 10 minutes and we'll come back. Okay, guys, exactly 7. It is 9:33. I will come around 9:40. Yeah, guys, all of you are back.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So the next concept, no return but with parameters. Okay. So what is the meaning of no return with parameters is, see, remember just technical words. This is called as the called function, and this is called as the calling function. So wherever you are trying to call the other method, that is called as the calling function, and whichever method is called by some other method, that is called as the called function. Okay, so now we have to define a method which is no return. Okay, which is no return but parameters. Means what is, if we have some value here, okay, if we have some value here, okay, here, these values should be able to share with the other method. Okay, how to do that? Okay, so first one is public. Whenever there is a concept of no return, you have to keep it as the void. Okay, you have to keep it as the void. Okay, so let me give the name as 2. Okay, let me name as this method. So basically, in order to execute this method, okay, in order to execute this method needs some input. Okay, this method needs some input, and that input should be given from outside. Means data sharing from. Okay, let me take 2 methods. Let me name it as A method A and name it as B. 2 methods we have. Okay, so now one directional. The first one is the no data sharing. Okay, no data sharing. This already we discussed using this one. The second one is the one directional data share, means from B to A. And again, B is not sharing anything with outside. Okay, see, these are different ways to understand how to organize the data. Maybe don't think about like how to use this in real time, what is the purpose of this one when it is giving the same output like this. Understand the concepts, you will be you will understand definitely when you try to work with the real time concepts. Okay, so one directional data sharing. So you can call it as this is a calling method, this is a called method. So whenever you wanted to pass some data, share some data from calling method to called method, we have to use a technique which is called as the parameters. Okay, which is called as the parameter. So here you have to define string f name, comma, string l name. So what is meaning of this one is, if I wanted to execute this method, I need some values from outside of its scope. That will be passed from B to A. Whenever I'm trying to use this method, there is a restriction. I should be able to send some values, first name and last name from outside. Once if you get them, here you can write okay, that's it. See, void type. This is not returns any value, but this is taking the first name and last name from the outside of its scope. Then how to use this one? See, this already we understand. So I'm commenting out that one. Okay, see, this is the name of the object, full name, dot, see full name too. Just open the brace. When you open, see clearly it says string first name and last name. See after full name, string first name and last name. What is the meaning of this one is, if you would like to execute full name, if you would like to call full name, you should be passing 2 values which are called as the first name and last name. So when you call this method within the braces, you have to pass the values those are required. Okay, like this. Okay, like this. Okay, so this is no return with parameter. See, they no return, but I said there are parameters. Means when I call this method full name, okay, full name, I have to share something. I have to pass something to this method as the input. Those are called as the parameters. Now, easy and tech I am passing. When you call this method, what happens is whatever first one is there. Okay, so whatever first one is there, this will be assigned to first name. What is next one is there, this will be assigned to last name. The values will occupy respect to memory locations. First name will come to here, last name will be coming to here, and name will be displayed. And remember, this is not sharing full name with outside again. Okay, I'm not. The value of the full name is constructed inside, used inside only. If you would like to understand in more familiar way, let me define full name and try to construct first name, last name, And this full name, you can try to display here in this scope. Okay, you can display in this scope only. Actually, I am not pulling the value outside. Suppose if I would like to access this value here, not possible. That is only possible with the return statement. However, if you would like to share one directional data from B to A, okay, B to A, then we have to define it in this fashion. Okay, whatever method is there, target method is there, to the target method, we have to add the in parameters. And if there are in parameters, if there are parameters to any one of the method, if I try to call that method without passing them, it will throw the error. See, this says there is no method. So there is no argument given corresponding to the method first name of full name to. So basically it says it has to pass two string parameters. See, if you look at CS7036 at the end, full name braces string it says, means it needs two string parameters in order to do that one. Okay. Okay, so like this, we can define. Now what happens is, if we run the application, whatever output we gained before, the same output we can see in this context also. Let me remove this. See, the same mode. My name is EasyTech. And again, remember, you are sharing only one way. See, if not like this, you can share it in like this also. Means, okay, like this. You just remove that first name. Okay, pass it as the last name. Now what happens? The variables first name and last name exist in main method in program class. Those are passing outside of it. Okay, from here, the first name and last name are passed to outside of it. That is where we are performing the logic. Okay, so if you run the application, enter first name and last name. Okay, so my name is Saugesh Network Display like this. Now keep a debugger and check out the flow. Think it took the null value, something was wrong, but okay. So okay, see from here, see as of now, first name, last name, there are no values in it. Okay, values in it. From full name, it will go to this method, line number 18, it will go. So when it go to the line number 18, now see whatever first name you have given, that will be assigned to this one. The last name will be assigned to this one. Then logic is performed. Okay, you can find the output. Okay, my name is EasyTech. And remember, it's very clear. The values of first name and last name are shared to this method using indirect approach. That approach is called as the parameter types. And the logic is constructed here. Probably it's not sharing anything with outside of it. Okay, so this is the second example, no return and no parameters. No return and no parameter. Okay, now let us see the other one. Okay, let us see the other one. With return, but no parameter. Okay, with return, no parameter. Means this method is sharing with this one, and this one is not sharing any data with this one. Okay, so let me do that. That would be similar to this one. Okay, that would be similar to this one. See, when we said with return, whenever we said with return, we have to make it as the string. Okay, because I am taking here string as the example. Get full name with return. And remember, no two names should be same. Suppose here I use it as the full name. Here I should not use the same method. It will confuse, right? Just it will confuse. Suppose if there are two Meghanas in this class, if I call Meghana, then they will confuse of whom I'm trying to refer. It is the reason in class the roll numbers are provided. If there are two with the same name, they can identify with the roll number. In similar fashion, there should not be more than one method with the same name. Okay. See if I have taken a different name with full name. See, this says whenever you set string, this says cannot return the null. Okay. So here you have to write it. You have to write a return f name plus last. Okay, like this you have to do. See, now what happens? This method is not expecting any parameters, means no parameters are required, means from here, you need not be passing any values, but this one will pass some values. So let me comment out these lines. Okay, so now see, you would like to call this method obj dot full name return. Okay, that's it. And you can display the okay, that's it. See, from here, I'm not passing any values, means no parameters, that is justified. And this method returns a value full name. So with return and no parameters, whatever we have taken as the consideration, with return no parameter, this method is justified. I can use in this way. Okay. Now let me run the application. Okay, enter name. Okay, so like this it will display. Now you can debug it. Okay, so calling the method. Okay, I think it returned it. Okay, created object, calling the method. So it will go to the respective method and it will try to read the values, first name and last name. Is it like? Okay, so you said return the statement. So whatever you are trying to return, that will come to the full name. Okay, as of now, the full name value is null, means value is not yet replaced. Okay, see now the value is replaced with the easy tag. You can see the value. Okay, so this is the way you can see the value. Okay, so one direction with return, no parameter. Okay, so this one returns the full name, but there are no values passed from here to calling function to call function. Okay, guys, are you clear? You have any doubts? You can type in yes or no. Anyone? Do you have any doubt in this part? Okay. I just need response from all. Because I see some people are leaving. Do they get bored or not understanding that? Do they have work even not intimating also? Okay, great. Okay, fine. So this is one-way sharing. However, we do have another way, that is two-directional data sharing. Means from here to here we can pass, from here to here also we can pass. Means with return and with parameters. Okay. So then, and whenever we have the concept public, with return we said, so that I'm defining it a name, full name, return. Okay, so I just have named it. So with parameters we said, so that I would like to define two parameters, name and last name. Okay, like this. Then set return. Okay, first name and last name. See, you can do it the way you feel convenient. Suppose if you are not convenient like this, you can define a variable, full name, okay, full name. Then you can write this logic here. Then instead of this, you can say like this also. Generally, why we write like directly like this is to reduce the number of variables and the lines. Okay, instead of writing these two statements, I can do with only one statement. Whatever this one is, this is the same, right? Nothing difference. So there is no difference of writing. So by writing this, what are the benefits we have? Instead of two lines, we are using only one line. That will improve the performance. The second one is that we were not declaring the variable. That will save the memory usage also. So in that way, we will write like this. But however, there are some disadvantages also, like writing like this. But it's fine. When we start learning, we can do like this. Okay. Now what happens? This method with parameters and with return type. Okay, this method has the return type, have the parameters also. Means whenever I will try to use this method, I should be able to pass the parameters. Okay, see the last method we were discussing with return and with parameters. Obj dot, and what is the name of the method? File name, return, file name, return, and parameters. Both are there. Okay, file name, full name, return, and the parameters. See, whenever you type in, it clearly says expecting two parameters, which are called as the first name and last name. So we have to pass this value here and pass the value from here also. Okay, that's it. Now what happens is this method is passing first name and last name to this method, and this method trying to return the value of the full name. Two-way data sharing. First name and last name. See, first name and last name. From here to here, I am passing. After passing to here, this one is constructing the full name. Okay, after constructing the full name, the result is sending back to here. So two-way data sharing. First name and last name to here, and the full name to here. Two directional data sharing is available. Okay, just run the application once and see the output. Okay, okay, so like this, it will just see the executor pattern. So it will ask for first name. EasyTech. So it will call the respective method. It returns the value. It will come back. See, the full name is pulled back. We capture that value, and you can display that name EasyTech, and you can gain the benefit of it. Okay. So these are the different ways to declare the method. A method, no parameter, no return type. A method with parameter, no return type. A method with return type, no parameter. A method with return type and with parameter. So we are discussing classes and objects. As part of that, in a class, how to organize the methods, you have learned it. You have to be very clear how to use them. When you go to the projects, you have to understand which type of method I have to declare. Okay, which type of method I have to declare. Okay. So examples, when you try to go to the ATM center, you need to put a card. It need to ask type of the transaction. If your card is valid, if your card is valid, that is a method without parameters. You are not giving anything. You are just trying to put your ATM card into the machine. Machine will evaluate by using your chip. It will say the card is valid or invalid. That's it. There is no transactional data between you and ATM. You are just passing the pin, but you are not giving any other information. So no data sharing. No data sharing. If you have that kind of requirement, you have to define a method in this format. Maybe once if your card is validated, you have to give the input like the type of transaction you want. Means maybe withdraw, maybe mini statement, that you have to pass as the in parameter. Okay. So when you pass it, probably suppose if you say like, I would like to change my PIN, that is the in parameter you are passing. And maybe that is allowed transaction or not allowed transaction, either to proceed or not to further. It depends. Means at that moment, changing PIN is not allowed. If your card is new, you are not allowed to change the PIN. Only one directional database. You are giving your input, based on that, it will decide what to give it as the output. So in this manner, you will be getting a lot of real-time examples once if you understand the concepts. Means whenever I have to use which method. Okay, whenever I have to use the which method. Suppose, see, once if you pass your PIN, it will give the transaction. It will tell you what is the balance remaining. That is fine. But internally ATM will track where this transaction is done, what time the transaction is done, and what is the home branch card, and what is the ATM, which branch, which bank ATM is used. All these parameters are internally tracked, but not shared with you. Like ATM never tells you like, see, I am tracking all these details behind it, won't tell you. So all this depends on the data privacies and data concepts. So if we have a doubt, when I have to use this method, when I have to choose this method, it depends on the transactional requirement of the project. So whenever you design, they will give you the requirement. You have to wisely choose which method I have to use in terms of the application performance and usability. So you should be familiar, like the definitions and the way to use them. Once if you get into the project, you will be understanding how to work with them. Okay. So these are the different types of the parameters. See, like I said, if you have a little bit of knowledge, see, like that in your previous experience, maybe you are capable to understand the previous concepts. But starting from here onwards, if you don't understand the concepts, definitely after a couple of weeks, you will lose all your interest if you don't practice. Okay. So the same program, I have written it using the first name and last name. For next week, all of you try to do a program using addition of A and B. It should cover all. Addition of A and B should be find out, no return, no parameter, no return with parameter. All these 4 scenarios you should have to cover using addition of A and B values. Okay. All of you are clear? Anyone have doubts, let me know, because this is the backbone of complete object-oriented concepts. Okay, so I will give you 2 minutes of time. If you understand, type yes. If you don't understand, if you have any doubts, let me know. Okay, I see only one response. Guys, all of you understood or not? Yeah, Saiteja, understand. Okay, if it is good, if you understand, but let me know if you have any doubts. Okay, okay. See, I will tell you one example how to use the return type as int. So I said int is the return type, so it should be able to return the value. So when you work with the methods with return types, methods with return type, we have a concept which is called as the optional parameters. So what is optional parameters is, see, if I try to call this method, full name return parameters, I should be able to pass the first name and last name. Unless I pass these values, this method cannot be executed. Now, I have defined another example. Okay, I have defined another example, method optional parameters. I will try to call this parameter method, see how it works. Result equal to, see, obj dot parameters 1, 2, 3, 4. I have passed. See, you can define them. You can take 3 variables and pass the values at runtime. Okay, I'm not taking that approach. I have passed this as the static values. Okay, that is fine. Console dot write. Okay, like this. See, basically you can see the here. This is how you are trying to get the output. If you want to revisit, you can go through this program. So I will remove few lines from here. Okay, see, now it has a clear picture. Okay, so I would like to use this method, name of the object. I'm trying to call this method. So when I'm trying to call this method, I must be able to pass A value, B value, and C value. And remember, it occupies the respective positions. The first value will be given to A, the second value will be given to B, and so it will map the parameter to peer-to-peer connections we said. Okay, like this, it will map. However, suppose if I don't pass any one of these values, suppose if I would like to pass like this, it will throw the error. You cannot call this method. However, we have a concept which is called as the optional parameters. What is the meaning of the optional parameters is every time I need not be passing the C value. I can ignore it when you define that parameter as the optional parameter. Okay, means if I pass it, it will take. If I don't pass any value, it will take a default value. Okay, so for that, what are you supposed to do is int C equal to 20, you can assign. Now see, the error went away. Now what happens is, if you run this application, in this fashion, okay, if you define the variables like this, okay, 1, 2, 3, 5, Okay, 3, 5. Now what happens is 1 will be assigned to A, 2 will be assigned to B, and 5 will be assigned to C. So if you run this application now, how it displays is 1 plus 2 plus 5. 8 will display as the output. See, 8 will display as the output. But if I don't pass the second value, if I don't pass the third value, what happens is, as you are not passing the C value will take the default value. You are not passing any third value, then what happens is whatever default value you have assigned, that will be taken into the consideration. Now what happens is A and B, you are passing from here 2 plus 2, 3, and it will add to the default value 20. Now if you run this application, 23 you will be getting as the output. See, 23 will be displayed as the output. So if you, when you define a parameter, if you assign a default value, it need not be passing from the calling method. Okay, this kind of approach is called as the default parameters. And there can be any number of default parameters in one program. Okay, now what happens is even you can pass like this also. Suppose if I don't do this, if I call like this, again it will throw the error, because it needs another mandatory parameter. Okay, so, and remember, if you define any optional parameters, it should be in the last only. Suppose if I try to do like this, that will throw the error. Okay, that is not accepted. Okay, whatever optional parameters are there, those should be defined at the end. In the middle of the method, we cannot declare them as the optional parameters. Okay, so like this, it works. So this kind of parameters are called as the optional parameters. Okay, this is another concept. Okay, so we have one question here. After studying, after learning all these things, what if I would like to share more than one value with the outside of the method? See, methods are very interesting when you involve, when you understand it. You should ask me the question. See, this is fine. I'm sharing the full name, but I would like to share my first name and last name also. Or else you can define like this. You're returning A plus B plus C, that is fine. But I want to return A plus B plus C, A minus B minus C, A into B into C. All three values I would like to return using the same parameter. Then how to do that one? Remember, in a method, you can write only one return statement. Only one return, you can say return A plus B plus C. And return statement will be considered as the end of the method execution. Means after return, if you try to write something like this, if we try to write something like this, that will not be executed and that will be considered as the unreachable code. See, unreachable code detected means in the function, whenever it finds the return statement, that cannot be executed. Okay, that cannot be executed. That will not be passed it as the in parameters. Okay, that cannot be passed as the sorry. Okay, if there is a written value, it cannot be executed. So like I said, if you would like to return more than one value, means addition, subtraction, multiplication, all I wanted to return using this method, what is the option we have? As of now, you have to define another method which returns the A minus B minus C. But I would like to return all these values using single statement like this, A minus B minus C. In this case, what happens is, once it finds the return statement, it will not even go to the next line to execute. Then what happens? Then there is another concept which is called as the type of the parameter. Okay, type of the parameter, that is called as the call by value and call by reference. Remember, that is another indirect method to return more than one value. So if I have like this, if I would like to return all the values, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, using single method, we have to follow a new approach, which is called as the parameter type calling. See, as of now, these are called as the default parameters. Okay, default parameters. Okay, we have a concept which is called as call by value, call by reference, call by out. Basically, call by reference and call by out are helpful to pass more than one value or to return more than one value from calling function to, sorry, called function to calling function. But always remember, we can return only one value. Return is allowed to share only one value. We can return multiple values using a different approach, which is called as the call by reference and call by value. Okay. I think we have discussed a lot of important concepts today. And before we go to the call by value and call by reference, I request you to go through the video today and come to the class tomorrow. In that way, what happens is it will helpful to understand the call by value and call by reference. Guys, one. Okay. So call by value, call by reference. I can cover it in 15 to 20 minutes, but I would like you guys to go through the today's session, understand the clear picture. And like I said, try to practice the program in the same approach, try to find out addition of two numbers using all this type of parameters. I would like to see it, at least I request one or two of you to share your screen and to show me the execution pattern. I believe that let me stop recording.